All right, yo, what's going on? How is everybody doing today? Happy Monday morning. It is a beautiful morning. I'm pre-recording this, so I'm guessing it's a beautiful morning, but it's a beautiful evening as I record this. And so good evening, good morning. Happy Monday morning. Happy late Thanksgiving to all my American turkey eaters down south. And for those of you that don't eat turkey on Thanksgiving, what are you doing? Next year. There's always next year, I guess. But happy late Thanksgiving. I mean, happy Thanksgiving a month late to the Canadians. I don't even think I said a happy Thanksgiving on this show for the Canadians. So happy late Thanksgiving for all of us. But welcome to the podcast, the Risen Fallen podcast, where we discuss more than just seasons. This is mainly a mental health, self-development kind of podcast, but sometimes I come on here with guests. We talk a little shit, and sometimes I just come on and chat by myself, and that's kind of what I'm doing tonight or this morning or whenever you're listening to this. And so welcome to the show. Hope that you're doing well. If you're brand new to this, thank you for coming in and joining. And if you're not new to this, then thank you very much for coming back. I love you. You are the reason that I do what I do. And so I haven't said that in a while, but it's true. It is. Yep. And so, yeah, you know, it's getting cold here. It's wintertime. And for those of us that work in construction or any outside job or anything like that, it definitely makes you feel like you kind of wish you could control the seasons, you could control the temperature, the weather. And some people think that you can, or maybe not that you can, but maybe that a certain group can. And I'm not saying that I'm in that camp. I'm just saying some people think that, right? And so I'm not in that camp. I don't think that any of us can change the seasons or the weather or the temperature or anything like that. And you might go, hey, Mark, that's a little bit of a weird topic to start a little mental health and self-development podcast with, you know, a little conspiracy like that. But the reason I bring that up is because, like I said, today I'm sitting there thinking, man, I wish it was fucking summer again. I wish it was like 25, 30 degrees. Like nothing makes me happier, honestly, than working in the sun, working in the heat. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's like blasting music, slamming waters all day, drinking iced coffees, building some shit that you're proud of. You know, it's fun stuff. I love it, honestly. And in the wintertime, I'm definitely freezing my balls off, wishing it was summertime. I got my hand warmers in my pockets. I'm a big baby when it comes to that shit. You know, the heated hoodies, the heated, you know, and you know, it got me thinking about how, you know, the world that we live in has, you know, definitive seasons, definitive like periods of time where different things happen and there's no way to control it. It's like you can, you know, there's some seasons where you can plant some seeds. And you sit there and you can water them and plant them and do things like that. And no apparent growth happens on the surface. You're just planting seeds. You're just watering seeds that are in the ground. You're just watering dirt and planting seeds. And you're sitting there thinking like nothing's going to come of this. Like nothing's, you know, and you just kind of are just planting the seeds. You're just like, I'm hungry and I want some food. So hopefully something comes of this. You know, sometimes life feels like that. And then there's other times where, like I said, it's you know, the sun's up earlier than you are, and it's up later than you are, and it's just always bright and full of energy. And when you wake up, you're like, let's fucking go. You want to go for a run. You want to do, you know, there's seasons like that where you want to go out. You want to go and see people. You want to, you know, see people you love and go to the beach and enjoy not doing as much maybe, or maybe doing more. Like, you know, summertime, sometimes I'm working more than I normally am just because it's like you got to make hay when the sun shines. And then there's other times where, you know, in like autumn or fall, it's time to harvest the fruits of your labor, sometimes literally, sometimes metaphorically. And then there's other times like winter where things get a little cold and maybe you got to budget a little bit more for the holiday season, or maybe you got to think of maybe learn a new recipe for a family dinner, or maybe you got to get your haircut. You got to trim up and be a little bit more prim and proper for those family dinners and seeing those, relatives or friends and family members that you don't see very often. You want to, show them that you're doing all right. And whatever, you get what I'm trying to say. Is like sometimes there's different seasons in life. There's different times that you don't get to control. You don't get to. I wish I could skip winter. Honestly, the only good thing about it is Christmas time. I love Christmas time, and the snow is beautiful. But the roads get hectic here in Vancouver. It gets cold as hell. It gets wet as hell. It gets dark as hell. And for me, it's just kind of like the you got to kind of just be able to, from my perspective, it kind of seems like you just kind of have to accept it. You kind of just have to accept it. And I know that sounds a little weird, but it's like you kind of just have to understand that you can't just be summer all the time. And when it is, it's like you kind of deal with forest fires or other issues or whatever, whatever sets Hawaii all on fire and California on fire. Like you can't have summer all the time. There's repercussions for that, and you can't have winter all the time. Look at, Northern Canada. Nobody can because nobody's there because it's fucking winter all the time. And so, you can't just pick and choose and just have what you want all the time in this life. And obviously that sounds fucking very simple and rudimentary, but if you actually think about it, there's so many times in our lives where we are in a season of our lives, and we're sitting there thinking, oh, I wish it was this other season. It's wintertime. I wish it was summer. It's summertime. I wish it was spring. It's springtime. I wish it was summer or whatever. For me, I always wish it was summer. That's honestly how I feel. But, you're sitting there thinking during that season of your life that you're in, oh, I wish it was this other season. And while we're doing that, we're trying to do the things that are supposed to be done in other seasons in the current season that we're in. It's like if you're in like winter time and you're sitting and planting like seeds in the winter time. It's like it's too cold. It's it's too maybe dry. It's too maybe the conditions aren't right. It's probably just too cold, honestly. And so like you're sitting there and you're pumping your fucking gas pedal all the way. And you're trying your ass off to sit there and do this thing because you're like, oh, I wish it was spring, so I'm just going to act like it's spring. I'm just going to force my way into spring. And it's winter, dude. And you can't just do spring shit in the winter. And then in the same token, you can't do winter shit in the summer. Believe it or not, you can't do you can't ski, you can't snowboard, you can't do that in 25, 30 degree weather. And if you try and do the things outside of the season that you're supposed to do them in, you're probably going to get hurt. You're going to suffer. And so in the same way, like literally, you can't do those things because it's not the right season for it. Life is kind of like that as well. And that's kind of one of the things I've been thinking a lot about recently is like, there's a lot of things in my life where I'm like, oh, I want to do this fucking thing right now. Why don't I have the energy? Why don't I have the funds? Why don't I have why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? And it comes down to kind of like, I guess, self-reflection of realizing like where you're at, where, not just like what season of the year is it, but like what season of my life am I in? Am I in the time of my life where I'm supposed to be enjoying it, spending money and being frivolous? Am I in the time of my life where I'm supposed to be hyper focused and just like kind of tunnel vision on a goal, and it's not to say that either one of them is like bad or good, but it's just understanding when you're supposed to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. And that's going to be so subjective and it's going to be so different for everybody. And and it's going to change. And sometimes it's going to be a cycle. Sometimes it's going to be like, the same way that we have winter, spring, summer, fall, winter, spring, summer, fall, like repeated over and over again in life. Sometimes you're going to have times in your life or seasons in your life where it's like, okay, it's grind time right now. I'm fucking working my ass off. And that's the position I'm in right now. It's like, it's coming up to Christmas. And so personally, I'm working as many hours as I possibly can right now because I want to take some time off and chill out and enjoy the holidays. And so for me, I'm thinking like, I'm going to rack it up right now, make as much money as I possibly can and chill out. And that, again, it comes down to like kind of pre-planning of like, okay, I know what this next season is going to be. I know what this next month's going to be like. And so knowing that, what's the season that comes before that? I know that in my own personal life, it's like, hey, I like to have a little bit of time in the holiday season. I like to have some time to just chill out and to just like kind of relax and kick it with family. And so if I know I want to have this relaxation in about a month's time or whatever, maybe you have to plan longer, maybe you have to plan less. But it's like, I know if I want to have this chill time, this where, I'm not doing as much work, then it's probably going to come at the cost of doing more work now or more work after. And personally, I think that if you're going to go into a season of your life, you're about to go into a season of your life. Maybe you have a vacation plan. Maybe you have just fucking taking time off, or you need to take the time off. You kind of, you can plan ahead for that. And you can front load, be like, okay, well, the cost of chilling is going to be X amount. It's going to cost me a certain amount to go on vacation or to buy a flight or fucking whatever you're wanting to do or buy something for yourself. Treat yourself. You're like, okay, I know the cost of doing that. And so I'd recommend, and this is just realized through trial of error of not doing this, to front load that cost and to pay it up front. That's something that I'm trying to implement in my life right now, where it's like, hey, instead of just being like, fuck it, I'll figure it out later, how about we figure it out now and then just chill later? And so like, I think that sometimes people, especially in the mental health and self-development world, they always tell people like, dude, you got to slow down. I see this one meme all the time where it's like, if being hard on yourself worked, it would have by now. And it's kind of true, obviously, because you can't just sit there and be a victim and beat yourself up or be, like get into this like martyr type mindset of like, oh, you're just like so self-sacrificial that just like that's why you're like, I guess, willing to sacrifice anything and you sacrifice everything. And you never really get to where you want because you're just like kind of like always kind of in this like fake martyr mindset, I guess. Now, why did I start thinking about that or talking about that? It's because, so many times on social media, so many times on like podcasts or self-development or mental health stuff, they always tell you, like if you need to chill, just chill. Maybe you need to slow things down. Maybe you need to rest. Maybe you need to do this. Maybe you need to do that. And I think that a lot of us are trying to do these types of things like rest and whatever people consider, I don't know, they're like, just chill out and drink a fucking glass of wine or turns into a bottle of wine and watch some fucking Netflix and fucking, the same thing you do every fucking weekend. And for some reason, they're just going to be like justifying doing it. Like, yeah, let's just do it. I need the me time. I need the rest and the recovery. And it's like, well, you're kind of foregoing doing the thing that you need to be doing. So many of us feel like this anxiety and this depression around certain seasons of our lives. And then it like somehow creeps up on us every single year. Be like, oh, this is the fucking thing that I deal with every single year. And it's like maybe there's other reasons why you're feeling that way, and maybe it's because we're trying to do the chill season stuff in the work season stuff. In the work season time, like maybe it's because we've been resting and chilling too much, and maybe it's a different season of our life, and we're just trying to snowboard in the summertime. And so I think, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I think like if more people could just kind of sell the idea of like, how about we just spend, instead of like a self-care weekend of like drinking wine and fucking gossiping with your friends and eating garbage food and staying up later than you should and sleeping in later than you should and basically just treating yourself like somebody that you wanted to be depressed and anxious. Maybe that little self-care weekend should be something more like writing down the things that you've been neglecting doing, like taking out the trash or doing your laundry or washing the dishes or vacuuming the living room or doing this or doing that or whatever it could be. Like taking on that side project that you've been talking about, thinking about, doing for like 6 months and 7 months. And people are like, yeah, dude, we've heard it. Let's see it. Like, where is it? And I'm sure that maybe you don't even have those things. Maybe you have those things that you haven't even talked about doing. And so like instead of like a self-care weekend of this like binge eating and binge drinking and basically foregoing all your responsibilities and accountability, like let's have the self-care weekend of like, what the fuck have I been neglecting to do? And how should I or could I take care of myself a little bit better? And for some of us, that might be a little bit more, sympathy for yourself, a little bit of grace, a little bit of forgiveness, and to allow yourself to chill. Because some people do neglect that for sure, and have that rest and recovery, and they wonder why they feel so angry and burnt out and resentful and pissed off all the time. But for most of us, to achieve that like balance in the seasons of our lives, I think that means a little bit less chilling and a little bit more like doing some work. And so, that work isn't always just a hard workout, exercise, or, bonding and camaraderie through being on a sports team or, that alpha male giga chad type stuff. But obviously, a lot of that stuff does help your mental health. But sometimes the work is a little bit more, reaching out to other people. Like, hey, I need a fucking hand with this thing. Or, help your friend start a business and maybe he'll help you out with yours. Or I think you guys kind of get where I'm going at with this. Just, I think before I start talking in circles, I'll wrap this up right here. But basically, the main thought that I just wanted to convey today is just that, there's different seasons in this world, obviously, temperature-wise, weather-wise, sunlight-wise, etc. And the same way that there's different seasons in this world, there's different seasons of our lives. And we can't always control the season that we're in. And it's critical that we know what season we're in so we can do the appropriate behaviors and activities. If you're in a chill season of your life, don't be afraid to kick your shoes off and just chill out. Do some stretching. Just do some recovery. Do some rest. Do some physio. Do some reading. Do some journaling. Do some crying. But if you're in a fucking work season of your life, maybe you can do some of that stuff, but doing it all the time is not going to put you in a better position. And that sucks to hear, but it's just reality. If you try and go fucking snowboarding in the summer, you're going to wonder why gravel hurts a lot more than snow. So, on that note, I think that's a beautiful place to wrap this up. Happy Monday. I'll see you guys next week. Much love. Peace out. Love you all. Bye.